And then what did I want to say? There are certain shapes of, these are the dolmens, so distribution of dolmens, colossal rocks, and the shape of bronze daggers. You're going to see the bronze daggers in a moment. People can come up with a theoretical territory. During the Han Dynasty of China, there is a theory that Korea had a proto-kingdom called Gojoseon. And according to the legend in later history books, it could have founded as early as 2300 BCE. But that does not sort of make sense. It's way too early, right? Like 2000 BCE, what kind of civilization did we have? Neolithic, right? Gojoseon is more like a culture based on Iron Age, like a transition from Bronze to Iron Age during Gojoseon period. So historians find it more reasonable to assume that Gojoseon existed concurrent to Han Dynasty of China, and then eventually Gojoseon became more like a historical period of three kingdoms. Gojoseon is only mentioned in Korean history book from the 13th century on. We don't have a clearly dated archaeological object of Gojoseon. So that's why it still remains as a hypothetical proto-kingdom, not as a part of real history yet. So that is related to this legend. This is what 삼국유사, like this text, the history book of the 13th century, is referring to. So according to that story, Dangun is the founder of Gojoseon, and he is the great ancestor of all the Korean people. Korean people believe that they all come from this mythological figure named Dangun. So who is Dangun? So the story says that is the son of Hwanung, it's the father, and then the mother is a Bear woman, so they got married, and then the son is Dangun. So what does that mean? Well, father is divine. Hwanung is the son of Hwanin, the Lord of the heaven, so he's the sort of divine. And then the mother's side, it's called Ungyo. Ungyo means bear woman, so that means a bear stayed 100 days only eating mugwort and garlic, and then so bear became woman. So it's not really divine, but it is what? Mythological, right? So they became husband and wife, and then their son Dangun became the forefather of Joseon and ancestor of Korean people. So it's a divine lineage, and eventually it came from the heaven. So, legend of Dangun, founder of Gojoseon. So this story is called 삼국유사. This is mentioned in your discussion activity. So I want you to read more about this during your activity, and then talk about this legend a little bit more in depth. But here is the point: garlic, and then mugwort. There was a tiger, and then there was a bear. So only bear succeeded in eating garlic and mugwort for 100 days. Do you think you can do this in the cave? Or maybe we are living in the stay at home during the pandemic, and it's somewhat similar to our own endurance. Anyhow, I want you to read this more carefully during your activities. Okay, go back to this and spend some time. So anyhow, if I organize the mythology, Dangun, the divine, like a semi-divine son of Hwanung, built the state of Gojoseon. So as the descendant of Dangun, Korean people should feel proud and privileged because in a way they are related to the Lord of the heaven, right? Anyhow, historically, the location of Gojoseon is difficult to establish. So it is still hypothetical, and scholars are debating. Uh, but it's more like the Manchu area, like here, or it could be the territory of Gojoseon. And then, so this is what I meant by the dagger. So just like a comb patterned jar, based on the shape, we can also group ethnic tribes into certain origins. So in China, or China influenced civilizations, they have this type of mandolin shaped daggers, a little bit wide ones. And then in Korea, if you go to especially Korean Peninsula, you are going to see this needle shaped, very thin needle shaped daggers a lot. So that is throughout here, and then here. So they say Gojoseon people are again distinguishable from the Chinese civilization. So during the Gojoseon period, again, people probably use this type of geometric patterned mirrors, and then some other bronze tools. This is again the beginning of Three Kingdoms period. So we are going to study eventually Goguryeo, and then Gaya Confederacy. Gaya is here in the south, and then Goguryeo is here in Manchu area. And then Mahan, Jinhan, Pyonhan, like these three, eventually they become Three Kingdoms. Three Kingdoms period, and they are here. So these are shortly after the collapse of Joseon. So they became a few regional kingdoms, and then eventually it becomes a Three Kingdoms area. From Gojoseon to Goguryeo, from Gojoseon to Goguryeo, that transition is not really clearly explained yet. There may be some more archaeological findings. So that's why Gojoseon is still a little bit of hypothetical proto-kingdom, not the part of the main history. But Goguryeo or Goryeo, these countries are mentioned in Chinese history text. But again and again, the Korean early civilizations are related to these green areas. Do you see these green areas? Especially along the mountains area. Based on the forest and migrating types of people, the majority of people living in Korean Peninsula are more closely related to people from Siberia and these nomadic forests rather than the mainland of China. So that's the point. So during the Bronze period, scholars also argue that Korea and Japan had a more frequent cultural exchange. So the Japanese Yayoi period was very much influenced by the Korean people from the peninsula. And the evidence are these kind of bronze objects that were discovered in Kyushu. So Kyushu tombs excavated from the 3rd century BCE or 2nd century BCE, they share a lot of similarities with bronze objects from Korean Peninsula. So evidence of cultural similarities between Korea and Kyushu people in Japan. So were some Korean people of the southern coast, were they also living in Kyushu? Or were they regularly traveling each other? We don't know the solid evidence yet, but there are a lot of hypotheses. So there maybe have a more migrations of people from Siberia along the mountain areas and then to Kyushu Island.